live on Discovery Plus.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The first frame, Judd Trump to break.
So friends reunited here in Wuhan, but it's all business, of course, on the table. This is for a place in the last 16 of the Wuhan Open to take on either Sean Murphy or Gary Wilson. Judd Trump to get us underway. He's won the last 7 meetings between himself and Jack Lisowski. So the International Championship, 2018, Lisowski's last win. But we know, Neil, he's capable of, at times, inspirational snooker. It's just a question of whether he can sustain that today. If he can certainly win.
Absolutely, Dave. He's a bit of an enigma, isn't he? Let's be honest. We've had lots of long discussions in studios and sometimes just over a drink about Jack Lisowski and the talent he's got and why he hasn't won anything. But I think we just have to enjoy him for what he is and what he might not be on occasions. As you pointed out, 3 of those defeats to Judd Trump have been in finals. He's been in half a dozen of those in total, but he can't quite lift any silverware, and the longer it gets, the more of a problem it's becoming. But as I say, we'll just enjoy him, I think, for the beautiful player he is to watch at times. And there's no question, given that he has beaten Judd, not recently, but he has beaten him 5 times, that he is capable of doing so again. I think Judd would be the first to appreciate that he's up against a very gifted player here. Oh, that's quite a bad mistake. He didn't get very close to the red, and it, as you saw, went into the bunch. So on the assumption that there is a red that goes, the one just behind the black as we're looking at it now, if that goes, that's the one he'd like to play, and he appears he can get to it to pot it, that one. So an early good chance here for Lisowski. Trump's shot was a little wayward.
Oh, no surprise straight away, getting everything into play. That's how he plays the game. And Trump will have seen that many times close up in practice, of course. Yeah, he's been here a few days. Obviously, as he flew out, he wasn't aware that Ryan Day was going to pull out. So, just been, I'm sure, counting down the minutes to actually getting going in this tournament, having won that qualifier a couple of months ago now.
Jack's ranking of 28 is misleading, in my opinion. Of course, the rankings don't lie. The points you've got are the ones you've got. But I feel, and I'm sure the players do, that he is a better player than that. He's top 16 material. Of course, he's been in there before. Highest ranking of 10. That's a bit more in keeping with what the talent that he's got at his disposal. But he's down there because he hasn't been winning many matches, basically. Simple as that.
Yeah, and it's worth saying, he got to 10 without winning a tournament. It's obviously a money list, so the big first prizes, if you win one, obviously your ranking really is boosted. So to actually get to 10 without winning a tournament shows how consistent he was just a few years ago. Not been in a final for 4 years, and he's not been in a semi-final for 2 years.
One.
He's a very elegant player, and he makes snooker look very easy, and which of course it isn't. And
28.
There've always been players that make it look like what they're doing the easiest thing in the world. He's one of those. O'Sullivan, of course, is also in that category of making the game look easy. The only difference is he's got all the silverware to go with it. Anyway, it's a good opportunity this. He's in first. He's got a chance to get an early frame one in one single scoring visit, and that surely would give him a boost.
$34. $35.
Very delicately played.
42.
The other thing about him, of course, is he's quite a fluent player.
43.
He's one of those players who could win frames pretty quickly. Could rack off 2 or 3 frames in half an hour or even less.
I always think with him, and I think it's true of the really sort of naturally talented players, he's really got to focus on the easy stuff, because it does come easily to him.
51.
And he's doing here. This is a good start so far, as long as he now puts the frame away. Perfect start.
$58.
Just a bit more angle on this red. If he'd like to be able to hold, and he'd have to play it gently to do so. And that's probably as much as he could have stopped the cue ball from heading down to the bulk end. Red and colour, it won't be a low value colour, so you won't need any more than that.
65.
Very satisfactory, this opening, this from Jack Lisowski, the way that he has taken these so far. The frame has been won in the single visit. That's absolutely, as I said, what he wanted. Now a question of how many he can make.
$73.
Might be that he's a left-hander as well, mightn't it? That makes him the game look easy to him when we watch him, because a lot of the left-handed players are like this.
79.
Elegant players who, there's something about a left-handed snooker
80.
player that's pleasing on the eye, usually. I mean, there was 1 or 2 exceptions that still have to work very hard, but often they have a gift. And he's moving the balls around delightfully in this first frame.
87. $88.
Yeah, as I say, he's had a long wait to actually start his campaign, but my word, he started it very impressively. Trump just left the chance within a couple of shots. Lisowski got all the reds into play and has pressed on here, crucially, as I say. He's done, for him, the more simple stuff really well.
94.
So, with this pink, it'll be his 2nd century of this season. What a start. This is what he's got to do if he's going to beat Judd Trump today. Jack Lisowski delivering already in frame 1.
100.
Yeah, just dropping that in, and might play it around 2 cushions here, between the gap between the yellow and brown, or he tried to play that, but it's a very well played shot. And he does look confident, but as I say, it can be misleading. He always tends to look like this. But you cannot do any more than what he's doing here. The Trump red to left corner was a bit off target, actually. A bit of a loosener, it felt. And it's cost him.
111. $415. 126.
Well, what a delightful break this has been to start the session. Wonderful from Jack Lisowski. A total clearance of 133 to open up this last 32 encounter.
Lisowski to break.
I think he was just asking for a towel there in his corner, but he didn't spend any time in his corner during that frame. So that's only the third frame that Trump has lost so far this week. Won a 5-1 against Farrah Kajab, and then yesterday Lu Hongyu. It's got to be said they didn't take the chances that they did have in those matches, but already he's seen an opponent determined to make the most of any chance here.
Well, that's a factor, isn't it? That last shot there, just that his safety, he knows, will have to be at its best. Keep Lisowski at arm's length. And he had a terrific season last year, Judd, especially though the early part. I mean, the second half of the season, surprisingly, I suppose, he didn't really have any wins at all, nothing major. He did get beaten narrowly, Players' Championship final by the odd frame, but in general, the second half of the season, not anywhere near as good as the first, but of course he picked up the Saudi prize and won the UK Championship and could hardly have done any better. So I suppose you can't do it all the time.
No, I mean, what he's very good at is just winning matches. His last 29 ranking tournaments he's played in, he's been in 22 quarterfinals. Obviously hasn't won every tournament, but in terms of just getting through the early matches, there's probably no one better.
Well, that's not the red he wanted to hit. And again, he has left one, albeit putting the red to either middle pocket would not be a simple shot to get onto a colour from. Now looking at a two-ball plant. The two reds not lined up. So this is tricky. The pot over a ball and cue ball off the side of the bunch. This could go wrong. And it kind of has. The pot's not stayed out, but position not easy from here. So is he going to take a long pink on? It's a risky one, this. The last thing he'd like to do is give Judd an immediate chance that he hasn't really had to earn. The way he got up as if he thought it had rolled off, but he has given an opportunity, having missed that long pink. Lovely cueing.
Yes, I mean, one thing we do know about Judd Trump, he's more than capable of answering a century with one of his own. Of course, he had 107 last season. That's a record. He's already had 10 this season, despite not making, a particularly great start to the campaign.
I think, in general, some players will always make breaks, won't they? Even if they're not really playing that well, they'll always win frames with breaks. Just the style of play. Sullivan, of course, is the same. Doesn't apply to everybody who's a top player, of course. Not as simple as that. When you look at someone like Tepchaya, all those 147s he's made, he's down the rankings, but he's the kind of player, if he was to win a match, there'd always be big breaks in it. That's a nice shot. That's opened up the black completely.
Yeah, Tepchaya has actually won the first frame already against Scott Donaldson.
16.
No maximum there, but we'll keep you posted when there's any more from him today.
Yeah, I mean, he's made maximums in the last two events, and, you know, he's not a top-flight player. That's the thing. He's a really strange player. A beautiful player to watch.
17.
John Higgins has won the first frame against Yuan Si Jun. We'll have an interview with John in the interval, which covers a lot of topics, not all snooker, so worth watching.
$24. $25. $31.
That was a good recovery shot because he didn't want to be that close to the cushion, of course.
32.
In fact, you never want to be close to a cushion with the cue ball, but he recovered it. But he's still got to play another recovery shot here because the bolt colours are potentially in the way, up and down. Sometimes, you know, yes, he missed the pot and he didn't hit a bolt colour, but divided concentration between getting the white free is often the reason you'll miss the pot, but even then I'm still surprised. Did not see that coming. Well, that will really annoy him because well, if he's on the blue, he's very lucky. Looks like he's almost stuck to the red from that camera angle. But even then, in this chance has come about, it's a very important visit, this. As he's on it, so that was quite fortunate because there's no way in the world he played it in the way that he got it. But yes, you start with a century. Trump gets in frame 2 and misses a bad blue, so this effectively is an even bigger visit than frame 1. Yeah, couldn't take advantage.
Lisowski, 6.
Didn't really have the cue ball where he wanted it. That small break.
No, I mean, the previous red he potted actually sort of wriggled into this pocket. This one didn't wriggle in. It's a chance missed for sure.
One.
Well, that was actually a better shot than it looked to get out of that little corner. Cueing awkwardly and the red close to the pocket. Controlled it nicely, that cue ball. So all is forgiven. I don't think the blue will mean too much that he missed now.
9.
Well, of course, he's seen his closest pursuer in the world rankings, Karen Wilson, knocked out yesterday by Aaron Hill. I say closest be sure, there's about 600,000 points between them, so Trump is still a long way in front. Of course, it's a 2-year system, points get taken off as well throughout the campaign. For tournaments he did well in 2 years ago, but he's very comfortable at the moment. Top of the rankings. Of course, around this time, 2 years ago, he did win 3 tournaments in a row, including this.
23.
This was in the middle of the English and Northern Ireland Opens.
$24.
Just needs another red here to level things up.
30.
You mentioned Trump's consistency, and it's a
31.
very good point. But I think it helps that he invariably plays on one of the show tables. I mean, Kyren Wilson was away on table 3. I mean, it's not too bad over there, obviously. But, you know, with Judd playing and Zhao Jintong in action, you're going to be demoted a little bit.
38.
It does level off the playing field a tiny bit, taking nothing away from Aaron Hill, of course, because he might have beaten him on the show table. Well, I don't think that'll come into play. 63 the difference, 3 snookers to tie.
38 in the frame.
He's had enough. Jack Lisowski's conceded.
Yeah, and he had his chance, didn't he? Trump missed the blue earlier on. Jack Lisowski very keen to get this third frame underway, banish the memories of what happened there in frame 2, because he did have the chance to punish Nays. Well, it's Judd's break, it would seem.
Sorry.
He was so keen to break off, but it wasn't actually his turn.
Third frame. Judd Trump to break.
Oh, I have seen that happen, actually, where the wrong person breaks off, and you don't. It's not condoned. You have to set the balls up again, start all over again. I've seen that once or twice.
Mark Allen, who could do with some results this season, because he has got points coming off through the campaign. He's won the first against Hossein Bafai. And Tom Ford has won the opening frame against Rhiannon Evans, who's looking actually to become the first woman to reach the last 16 of a ranking event today. Maguire's taken the first against Xiao Xingtong. Sir Joel Waycourse, runner-up last year to Zhang Guodong, has taken the opener against Jackson Page. Sean Murphy 1-0 up to Gary Wilson. Remember, the winner of that match plays the winner of this one tomorrow.
Some pretty big matches taking place on outside tables today. And Sean Murphy and Gary Wilson is a very interesting match to watch as well. But of course, they can't all play on the show table.
I noticed, though, that I saw the footage of Tepchai's maximum, and he was on table 7 or something, but there were quite a few people there actually watching. There was an audience, which is good.
Yeah, playing the plant, but hoping the cue ball would come back. I don't think he bargained on that red drifting to the middle pocket, though. I can't think that he saw that coming. And you can tell by his expression he's not pleased about it. It was not even so thin that he couldn't hold. He could hold for the black, so it turned out to be a mistake. Although, again, it seemed unlikely that he'd leave that red. it's likely to be an open match, these two. I mean, there might be periods of safety, but in general,
8,
it's going to be a scoring match, and a match that's going to be played fairly rapidly, I think.
9, 16, 17,
'He's got the feeling that he didn't like the way that the Reds were grouped up in the bunch, as if he didn't see any way of really opening them, and he hasn't done so. I think the break comes to an end here unless there's a red at the bottom which just creeps past, or there's a plant. It must be close. Surely that red does not go, does it? He can't get to enough of the potting angle. So reluctantly, he's going to have to play safe.
Judd Trump, 24,
Well, he went for the pot. He was absolutely miles away. And once again, a bit like frame one, you know, he thought he'd play a pot which wouldn't do any damage, but he missed it by such a margin that he lost all control of cue ball and object ball there. It wasn't very good from Judd. Now, does he go directly into the bunch here, or does he look at the two reds in bulk? But it's really delaying the inevitable, and of course if he does go into them, he's got to avoid knocking a red in. Of course, that's always the problem. Oh, and he hasn't avoided it.
Lisowski, 1,
I don't know whether that's a direct plant, of course, in which case it could have been avoided, but when I was watching, I didn't really... Okay, I called that he might knock a red in, but I didn't see which one, and that's the problem. Yeah, I don't think that was a plant. That was just the way that the red ball just squeezed off a different red. Significant, though. Probably going to cost him the frame.
1,
It's a double whammy, isn't it? One, his break ends, but two, he's opened all the reds up. For the heaviest scorer in the game right now, Judd Trump.
6,
The prize is back again this season. First player to make 100 centuries. And I say first player because already, for example, Zhao Xingtong's made 13.
7,
It's not impossible. It could just come down to the crucible schedule. You know, who plays who plays their first round match first. We'll see. Of course, in that scenario, it would guarantee to be Xingtong because he'll be on the first day. It was a great moment, I thought, when Trump made the 100th at the Crucible.
9.
The crowd really reacted to it, stood up, applauded him. Just acknowledging the achievement.
10.
I still remember when Neil Robertson got to 100 against Judd at the Crucible. I don't think Judd was that interested in what he'd achieved. But times have changed and there's a prize this time. Still not won the frame, of course, because now, as you can see, distance between the balls. The red is not a certainty, but the cue ball is coming across the table, so the pot and position not assured here. Yeah, he didn't quite get very close to the red. It was the shot before, the yellow. He was limited in what he could do. Crowd are getting told off for something, although I don't think Judd has been put off by anything. Oh, beautiful shot. This black's really awkward, but it could still unlock the frame. So he's had a reprieve. Lisowski. But I'm afraid he might have been unlucky not to, or to see the red go in, but that was not very close, that black. Hit it much too thick in contact. And that was the end of that.
Yeah, the worry for Lisowski is that Trump, hasn't really hit the heights yet, has he? He's struggled a little bit with cue ball control. He's missed a couple, but just been handed these openings. And the last shot Lisowski played, he pushed a red safe, which favours Trump with the lead he's got. So he's looking pretty much nailed on 2-1 Trump. As I say, despite him not really yet producing the snooker we know he can.
9.
A glance at the scoreboard tells him this red, and it's Lisowski who'll need snookers. So Jack Lisowski started with that magnificent 133 total clearance, but a few errors since then have, as I say, just given Trump these openings that he's needed to take the lead in the match.
Twenty-four. 25.
I think what it is, the frames with big breaks speak for themselves, really. But it can be frames like this where there aren't necessarily any big breaks, and they're the ones you've got to win. It might not be one of Jack Lisowski's strengths, picking up this kind of a frame. He was a bit unlucky, obviously, off the blue. We have to say that. To knock it in, knock a red in. Cost him the frame.
Yeah, he had the chance afterwards, though, didn't he? Missed that black. Anyway, Judd Trump has taken advantage, and he...
to break.
Now it is Jack's turn to break off in this frame. Let's see if he can just tighten up a little bit and rediscover that brilliant form he showed us in frame 1.
Touch and ball.
John Higgins 2-0 up against Yuan Sijun. And Zhao Xingtong has levelled up with Stephen Maguire at 1 each. Tepchara Nu 2-1 over Scott Donaldson.
There is a slightly sloppy shot there from Lisowski. He was, a long way away from the red he was playing safe from, but he hit it too thick, and as you saw, it just grazed the left corner pocket jaw and came across the table awkwardly. You think of, Mark Selby, who we saw playing earlier, he probably wouldn't have made that mistake. He would give every shot everything. Everything's an event. Every shot is an event for someone like Selby. But Jack was a little half-hearted on that shot. But, in a roundabout way, it's given him a chance. Albeit queuing over the whole bunch of reds here. Well, it helps if you can play right-handed, if you're a left-handed player. Otherwise, I'm not sure how he could have ever got to that with the whole bunch of reds in the way. Now, he needs to do something here. We know he's in good form. He started the match so well. But if he fell 3-1 down despite this good start, then, well, he might not be thinking that he's going to beat Judd again here. And it's been a while since he last did. Tough shot with the rest to screw off the bunch and out of there. Makes the pot missable. Very good shot. Just needs one more though, this blue. If he can pop this and back towards the red, it is a wonderful chance which he's created. So this has to drop. Oh dear. Well, that is frustrating, isn't it? That really is. There was a magnificent chance coming his way. Felt like the last possibly difficult shot. But even then, I expected him to get it.
1. Eight. 9.
'Didn't really go into the bunch. He was just trying to hold the cue ball
16.
for this red.
Seventeen. 24. 25. 32. 33.
Yeah, those half a dozen reds at the moment are quite difficult to single one out of those. So you probably have to go into them. It might not take a lot of movement to make them all possible, but right now they're all in each other's way.
36.
Strange shot, that. Don't know if he tried to push the red closer to the pocket or not, but he hasn't really got a tremendous angle to open them. I mean, he has got some angle. So that's why you have to play on the loose red. So it's going to have to be a better positional shot on his next colour to do something with the reds. Yes, he's got a 38-point lead, but there's plenty of points on the table after this red is potted. There'll still be 75 on. So he's not anywhere near the line yet. So there's quite a bit riding on this shot. Yes, he's got the blue nailed to the bolt cushion, so that's good insurance with the pink where it is. So he knows that should he miss, Lisowski's got a heck of a job to get back into the frame. Took the pressure off that last shot a little bit, I think.
51.
Well, now with the reds in play and a good lead already, golden chance for 3-1. Lisowski was in again early, missed that blue to the green pocket.
$59. $60.
So it seems this time Trump has made a winning break. It was sort of bits and pieces really the previous two frames, but fact is he's going to be 3-1 up at the interval, and Lisowski's had chances really in all the frames.
67. $68.
Yes, he missed that black to the left corner, cutting it in with the bunch just above it. And then, of course, the blue in this frame, the blue's where it is because he missed it into the green pocket.
75. 76.
And he sat down and watched ever since.
Yeah, he made such a good start. That 1-3-3 was really
83.
wonderful, but not a lot to write home about since. And this now is Trump
84.
at his best. As I say, needed a few chances in the previous two frames, but just one in this one. As he attempts to make his 11th century of the season.
91. $92.
Black and yellow to do exactly that.
$99.
No, it's a nice century. Didn't go in very cleanly for some reason, that yellow. I almost missed it.
104.
So he's played 16 frames this week and he's won 13 of them, Judd Trump.
108.
$108. It was the blue, of course, that Lisowski missed initially to set up the chance, and this time Judd Trump just needed.
That fears reputations, so that's not going to be an easy game for the world champion.
Judd Trump to break.
Judd Trump and Jack Lisowski back then from their interval. Trump leading 3-1. He made a century in frame 4. He needs 2 more to take on either Sean Murphy or Gary Wilson in the last 16 here in Wuhan.
Oh dear. Well, it's the kind of shot, I always say that, but a billiards player would be proud of that in off, but it's quite a difficult shot to actually go in off from there. If you hit the red at the right angle, the cue ball goes up the side cushion and doesn't go anywhere near the pocket. So it's not really unlucky, but it's still a difficult in off to think will happen. It'll only mean something if this red goes in. Cue ball in hand.
One.
Too close for comfort. It's going to have to be the blue if he's going to turn it into a break of any kind. These shots are missable. Green's not helping right next to the cue ball either. Bit of a distraction. Beautiful shot. He floated that in.
Six. Nine. Ten.
Well, the red above and to the left of the black spot will go into that same pocket that the black's going to be potted into here. So it's landing behind it. He wouldn't have minded been a bit low on the cue ball there, so he could have
17.
driven it into the reds in potting the red. But I don't think now he has any angle of that kind. So it's going to have to be a forcing shot on the black, arcing the cue ball from left to right into the reds that haven't really moved, so probably no further here with this break, unless he can just get through to that red out in the open on the right. He'd be a bit lucky if he is on that one. Well, he seemed determined to try and keep the break going, but he almost got closer to a treble than a double there. Could be Lisowski plays a double into the opposite middle. That wasn't all that close either.
Rhian Evans has pulled one back against Tom Ford. It's 2-1 now to Ford, the of course, reigning shootout champion. And Sergio Away's had a century to lead 3-0 against Jackson Page. So it's clearly something about Wuhan that he enjoys. Of course, he played so well against Trump in that semi-final last year. The maximum was just outstanding. Couldn't quite reproduce it, though, in the final against Shanker Dong. Gary Wilson 3-1 up on Sean Murphy. The Higgins interview was interesting, wasn't it, in terms of struggling for motivation, because I saw Gary Wilson at the Championship League first tournament of the season, and he was saying he was really down on his game, he was struggling, the yips had crept in, and he said, don't expect big things from me, but sometimes you just need just a few results, and he seems to be getting them this week, and then all is well again. Such a mentally demanding game, snooker. You go through these peaks and troughs, but Judd Trump, in a way, that's why he's been so successful. He just seems able to approach every tournament the same, just try and win them.
Touching ball.
It's touching ball, but I'm not sure whether that stops him getting through to this red. And the answer is no, it didn't.
One.
Yeah, I mean, the season is long, isn't it? And here we are, we're in August, you know, we're in August, and there's been a lot of snooker played, so there's more time to have these peaks and troughs, I guess. And yeah, previously, the season many years ago probably wouldn't have started again until September. But there's a lot of snooker being played. We've had all these 147s already. We're not even in September yet. So, you know, it is a long season. You're not going to play well all the way through it, I suppose.
Seven. Eight.
This has got to be made to count, this visit. You're not getting lots of chances, but if he is going to compete in this match, then here and now is where he's got to start to get frames on the board. He's got to get points on the board. Prior to that, of course,
15.
I was going to say he's got to dig in, but it's not really something he does, Lisowski. He's not really a dig-in sort of a player.
16.
Mark Allen 3-1 at the interval over Hossein Bafai. He's had breaks of 89 and 71 there, Alan.
That is a beautiful shot. The bunch were very tightly grouped, and the cue ball could have been lost to the side cushion or grazed off them and gone up the table, but he really played it well. Bit of a calculated risk hitting that red. He felt he would be on the pink, so that's opened up even more reds.
$30. 31. 38.
Shazzy Tom has levelled up at 2-2 with Steve Maguire at their interval.
39.
He's not perfect on the red here at all. Potting the red and controlling the cue ball, both quite difficult to achieve from here. Extension on the cue and the rest. done pretty well. He's on the black, fairly thin contact.
40
So
seconds.
this, as I said earlier, you know, it feels a very important point in the match. It's slipping away from him unless he can win the frame here, I think.
$54. $55.
I'm not sure that's a particularly good shot. Now he's very straight on this black. That's not a good shot on the previous one. I don't know how he could have got close to a red from the angle that he had on that black ball. And now you see, I mean, Mr. Blue into that pocket in an earlier frame, which was a lot easier than this. Same sort of a shot, but further away, this one. Ah, brilliant.
63.
So another red is going to be needed here. He's obviously not going to be the one behind the pink. Trump's got just a glimmer of hope. Can only really play, I feel, on the right-hand red, unless he plays to cannon the red by the pink out, but that's risky. Yeah, I think he's done well to avoid trying that. Not the perfect kiss.
65.
No, so not over yet. That was frame ball.
65.
Just felt harder to keep it going. So 36 in front, still 43 on.
Well, you feel that if the red is sort of buried in behind the pink and doesn't go anywhere, then Lisowski is not going to want to move that, because that is the one way back into the frame for Trump. You see the problem he's got. Again, he just doesn't really want to take the red away from the pink under any circumstances. So I think he's done the right thing. It's a pretty good shot, that, I'd say. Yeah, that's very good. Gave it some thought and delivered the goods.
Well, he did develop the red, but of course he's left this one, which is all Lisowski needs to pull one back.
What?
Not taking any chances
Get
playing the
Lisowski.
snooker.
1.
Yeah, but it was an important frame, and it looks like he's going to win it. We'll see what happens here with Trump if he hits it and
Foul. Judd Lisowski.
stays in the frame. But now it's a couple of snookers, so the match is very much alive. Just when it looked like Trump was getting on top.
Yeah, I mean, Lisowski before the interval, he made a few errors. As I said at the time, if he can tighten up, then of course he can still win. And he's won this frame. He's played a much better frame here.
Eight. Ten. 13. 17.
'Couldn't see a lot more of the blue than the potting angle there.
22.
Yeah, I mean, the match certainly needed Lisowski to win this frame.
And that's exactly what he's done. So Jack Lisowski pulls one back, the third ranking event of the season. Stephen Maguire, who won the first, the Championship League, is 2 each with Zhao Xingtong on table 2. Of course, Neil Robertson and Ronnie O'Sullivan contested the final of the second, the Saudi Arabia Masters, both then withdrew from this tournament. Tepchara Nu, meantime, 4-1 up now against Scott Donaldson. So typically not hanging about there.
Nice shot, well played, and the cue ball did not go all the way into baulk, crucially, which makes you wonder, he probably fancied the pot a little bit, and now he's got the first go at this table. Things would get very interesting if he could compile a big break here and win this frame swiftly. And we know he's capable of all of those things.
5.
It's a good shot. He's always knew that he had that red on the left to back him up, but he really executed the shot well. Played the black with a lot of control for a shot going into the side of the bunch. He knew exactly what was going to happen there. Very good. Just got to back it up though with this next pot. Slightly awkward cueing. He should pot this red to middle, but it's a big one actually, because he's got a little bit of momentum here. He's going nicely. He just won the previous frame and he's in first here, so he's on a bit of a roll.
Yeah, it's one of the things you've got to say about him. He's always trying to play the positive game. He's always on the attack. Doesn't go into his shell. Here again, trying to get things moving. Hasn't quite worked out, though.
No, the bunch were opened up a little bit already. And it's going to have to be a red to left middle, I think. But, I mean, it looks horribly dangerous. because the cue ball, if he does play it, it looks to be going into the top side of the reds. But if he doesn't try and pot that, what else can he play? Unless he decides to play safe. This is very difficult.
He was tough. Again, he's tried to keep it going, but it was a bit do or die, really, that shot.
Combination of the pop not being easy, but also the cue ball going into the side of the reds, which means you've got to play it with a degree more pace to try and get out of that middle of the table. Everything pointed to him missing it, really. It looks at something of a natural. If he plays his blue, he's going to go very close to hitting the yellow, or hit it. I don't see how he can avoid it by much, if at all. He just got to the left of it. That's a good shot. If he played it with any more pace, he'd have hit it.
6.
So a little bit of a reversal here. All of a sudden it's Trump in with a chance. These could have been Lisowski's. Well, if the reds is as tight as what he thinks it is, surely he's got to play the other red, the one that he can clearly get to. It looked tight on that shot, didn't it, the player view?
I'm loath to say this, but Jackson Page has potted 6 reds, 6 blacks against Sergio away. I mention it, of course, because Jackson was the man who made the 2 in the World qualifying last season to become the first player to make 2 in a match. Of course, Ronnie O'Sullivan subsequently did that a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, there are players on the tour who aren't necessarily the very best players in the world. And Jackson Page is one of them that can knock in these huge breaks. Bingham is another one who makes 147s, of course he's been world champion. But there are certain players who just knock in massive breaks. Recently retired Anthony Hamilton was someone that wasn't necessarily 147s, but big breaks were his forte through his career.
Well, we can stand down because Jackson's broken down on 56.
He'll make one soon, I reckon. But the break's going to end here. Completely in no man's land with this. So Lisowski can breathe a sigh of relief. It's a bigger frame than ever. I know we always say that in snooker, but you know, to get to 3-all would really help him, because he looks to be playing as well as Trump, but not necessarily winning the crucial moments. He'd have to win one here.
Judd Trump, 13.
That, however, is a very well played shot from Trump.
Foul and a miss. Judd Trump, 4. Back.
So once again, the 2-cushion glance, as often is the case, not got the first time. Brilliant. I mean, obviously you don't want to get the other side of the shot, overcompensate and crash into all the reds. That's no good. You'd rather give 4 or 8 or even 12 points away in trying to get the thinnest of edges.
One.
Well, it was a terrific initial red from Trump. I know Lisowski didn't quite get the safety as intended, but still needed potting. Was likely to leave something if he missed it, so he's in. Let's see how far he gets here. He certainly won't take Lisowski for granted. Not a chance. He's practiced with him many times,
Nine.
good friends with him, knows how good he is and what he's capable of. I'm sure as well he will have given him advice, but on occasions like today, that goes out the window, of course.
16. Seventeen.
Not as straightforward as it looks, this, because nothing pops to the left corner from over on the right side. He might have to just screw into something here and try and nudge into a red or two. I think he did try and nudge that red directly below the pink spot.
24.
Is he on one? No, he didn't look all that confident that he is. Could possibly use a trace of left-hand side and straighten this up, but it doesn't go with natural cueing. So, just when you felt that he was getting this frame
Judd Trump.
on the board and going within one, as I say, that previous shot was not straightforward, but he didn't get the contact on a red from the black. It's where his concentration's got to be good, Lisowski. He's got to be ready for this moment. May not have expected to come back to the table, this frame. That's a good shot. The right-hand red of the three is going to be moved.
8.
There's no reason why he shouldn't capitalise fully on that mistake from Trump now. Not in this frame. What a chance.
Yeah, these are the moments, the key moments of matches, aren't they? When one player will feel they should have won the frame, the other gets the chance to steal it.
16. 17. 24. 25. 32.
Yes, he might have felt that
33. Yeah.
he wanted to get the blue back away from that corner of the table on its spot, because the green might not pass it very easily into its own pocket. So it's much better the blue on its spot. He's just got to watch the pace on this shot, though. Cue ball's travelling off the cushion and back up for the yellow. He's got to get it right. That's fine. Fractionally short of pace, but still enough room there. Difference is 23, so yellow and green.
38.
He's got to just drop this in. Just took an extra feather there, just the way he was addressing the cue ball. He took a fraction longer, as if he just didn't feel quite right on the shot. He's missed 1 or 2 into that pocket. Trump can only tie, and he might have done better with that shot. Well, a lot depends if can he get through to this to pot it. If he can, you know, we could be looking at a respotted black here. Because from that left side, Judd, as a left-handed player, could roll that pink down the cushion, so the frame is still alive when it looks over. Yep. He can drop in behind it now, so if he can get the positional side of this bang on, you'd fancy him strongly to pot the pink and black from there. It's a bit close to it, isn't he? In the end, it's okay, but a little close for comfort.
Well, now it really is a big frame. Felt it anyway, but Lisowski unable to kill it off, missed that green. Trump needs the black, and it's a respot finish to frame 6. He makes the clearance, so the black comes back on. Big, big moments now here in Wuhan.
Who would like to call? Head. You choose, you break, or he break, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a school of thought. I think Sean Murphy always thought that it was an advantage to break off, but I don't see anybody winning the toss and opting to break. I think it's a little bit of a myth. I know the shot is always played like this. Don't know if he's got the chance for the double, cocked hat double to right middle here. Sometimes you might see that played from this position. He's certainly tried it. Oh, that was a great effort, but it might cost him the frame. Tension is mounting.
He got so close to that, didn't he? But now Lisowski just needs one nice piece of cue in here. And after all that, it will be level. In it goes. What a finish to frame 6, and it is Jack Lisowski who knocks in the respotted black to level up at 3-3. Well, Judd Trump and Jack Lisowski, they do bring entertainment, don't they? And we've had a pretty thrilling finish to this previous frame. This was the attempt at what they call the cock-tap double, round into the middle pocket. Nearly got it, didn't he?
I mean, most of the time players play that thinking that the ball will go pretty safe. I mean, had he just gone further than that top jaw, it'd have probably gone to the bolt cushion. But it's quite an unusual outcome for that shot to leave it to the opposite middle pocket. But somehow he won the frame, but it was a bit of a scramble in the end. It should never have been that tight.
Yeah, exactly. He had chances before that to win it. Of course, missed the green anyway. He has won it, and when he returns, we've set up for a bit of a best of three. Just a couple of other scores while we wait. So we've got Mark Allen 3-1 up on the same for Fai. John Higgins 3-1 over Yuan Sijun. 4-2 Gary Wilson over Sean Murphy.
Frame 7, Judd Trump to break.
So Trump was 3-1 up, seemingly in control, but things have turned round. It's 3-3. Very early in the season. This is only the third tournament Trump's played in, but of course he was defending champion in the first two, in Shanghai and also the Saudi Masters, and in those tournaments only won one match, so he's looking to get his campaign going. Problem with Trump, and it's a good problem to have, is his record has been so good the last few years that of course he's judged on it. So if he goes 4 or 5 tournaments, without sort of reaching a final, then suddenly sort of whispers start, don't they? What's wrong with him? Well, what's wrong with him there? He's not played that well.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him play a lot better and look a lot sharper than he has today. I mean, he still might win the match and might win this week, because he usually won when he gets towards the weekend of an event, final stages. That's when you see him at his best. So a weekend, of course, the semi-finals are Friday. In this tournament, it finishes on Saturday, so it's slightly different plan to usual. It's not a Sunday final this year. But if he's there at the business end, he's going to be tough to beat.
Well, he wasn't punished there for the safety error. Lisowski unable to get on the colour.
That little flick on the yellow made things awkward. He can't get to the bunch now, or the edge of the bunch. I mean, he might be able to drop into the pack, but he doesn't really want to be playing that, but he might be the only option he has. Just to drop into the top side of the bunch, almost dead bat it. That's what he's trying. Got to believe in the table, not rolling off.
Shazing Tom, meanwhile, has gone 3-2 up on Steve Maguire, and Tom Ford 4-1 over Ryan Evans. Mark Allen still 3-1 over Hossein Bafai. And Tepchara Nu 4-2 over Scott Donaldson. Serge Olway 3-2 over Jackson Page. They're the other scores. The whole of the last 32 being played to date. Massive month of snooker, isn't it, August? I mentioned obviously Shanghai, that was a big event. Saudi, this is 140,000 to the winner. Ooh. Well, could have been worse. Just got the rattle there, but it's okay. Well, that's certainly safe. Yeah, it's a fascinating match now, this. Could have been so different, of course, had Trump won that respot. 4-2, you fancy him strongly, but now it's a real nervy one, I think.
Well, it's fine margins because the cocked-out double went just about all round the middle pocket, didn't it? And then all of a sudden, as you say, it's 2 up. Talking about a millimetre or 2 difference in how shots end up, really.
Yeah, and then you have to try and clear your mind and just get on with the next frame. And I think Trump is good at doing that. Just concern here is the reds are all sort of, quite a few of them in open play. He doesn't want to slide off the bunch and leave one on. That's what he's just sort of working out here.
Well, he'd like to just drop off the right-hand cushion onto the bottom red, but there's a red along the cushion that goes to the left corner. That's the problem. So even that shot's not easy to play. So you don't see him shake his head very often. It suggests he really does not see a shot. If he could really lay up to that bottom red, then he probably wouldn't leave anything else, but he'd have to get the pace absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, how often does Trump take 2 minutes on a shot? Tells you it's tricky.
I mean, this is red all along he was looking at, but he really has to get this dead right. He's not reached. I can see exactly what he's thinking. Just lay on it completely. You've got to get the pace right anyway on those shots, but more so than ever when you're worried about leaving the red below the black spot to the opposite corner. It's basically got to land it up against the red. He got very close, didn't he, on that last shot? It was only a couple of millimetres out. And the first go was closer, and surely Lisowski comes around and looks at the red now. The one that Judd was so fearful of leaving.
Well, again, fine margins. If that goes in, he's away. As it is, he stayed on the lip. It's got tense, hasn't it? Understandably, after the way the last frame finished, and indeed to make it level.
One.
That was quite a good shot. He didn't look much, but he didn't have an angle on the red, but he forced it. Stunning right-hand side and took the cue ball up for the pink. But as Dave said, it's got tense, so here you have to build almost very slowly, see how far you can take this break. Obviously the red over the pocket is helping him in some ways, but he'd like to shift it so that he can get the black on its spot and bring that into the game as well. So he'll be playing on that red over the pocket sooner rather than later, you feel.
13.
Might just play on the pink or black here into that right corner.
20.
Got to make the most of this chance because it's a pretty good one. See that bottom red also goes, so he's slowly but surely building to a point where he might end up 1 up with 2 to play.
26.
Things have got a little nervy, so it's a good time to really compose yourself and not rush into shots. He knows all that.
$27.
Yeah, very often a right-handed shot this for Judd, leaning across.
Noticeable, he's really taking care, as you say, so important at this point in the match.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's just an appreciation and an understanding that you are under a little bit of pressure and you can't just go on as if nothing's wrong and nothing's difficult. You have to take a bit longer. Also, you have to understand important junctures in a match, and certainly this is one.
Yeah, and this is where experience pays off because, of course, you know, all the tournaments he's won 30 ranking titles. He's not all been demolition jobs, far from it. There's been moments where he's really had to dig in. Last year in Saudi,
42.
first round 4-0 down to Uyiza. And indeed, in the decider against Mark Williams.
$50. $53.
So now he's got them where he wants them to kill this frame off. Really focused hard, hasn't he, here on this break, Judd Trump. Lisowski did have the initial chance, missed the red. Then the question was, could Trump step in and take full advantage? And this is why he's top of the rankings, isn't it? And moments like this in matches, making these breaks.
Absolutely. He's moved his game up a gear here. This break is important, and there's been an element of good control throughout it. Doesn't mean he's won the match, but he looks at the moment the more driven of the two, I think. But it's been enjoyable. Both players have played their part in what's been a very interesting match. On paper it was good, and it has been.
69.
Can yet go all the way, of course.
70.
This frame is over in favour of Judd Trump, world number 1.
Could so easily have stolen the last frame, but he wouldn't have known he'd lost it on a respot. Just refocused, reset,
77.
and he's made a terrific break here.
78.
Of course, he was the first winner in Wuhan 2 years ago, and the tournament was held literally straight after the English Open that he won in Brentwood. Got on the plane, could have sat the tournament out, didn't. Came here, won this, and then went to Belfast and won that one as well. So 3 in a row. That's how sort of driven he is to win.
92.
So it's looking like a second century of the afternoon for Trump. What a time to make this one, though. After Lisowski fought back to 3-3, this is Trump's response. Superb.
$100. $100
exactly from Judd Trump. He's back in front and he's one away from a place in the last 16. He leads Jack Lisowski 4-3. Made his 1,000th career century. He's already now 1,099. It was at the English Open, wasn't it, in Brentwood, so not even a year ago. We've had a couple of results. Tepchara has beaten Scott Donaldson, and Tom Ford has beaten Ryan Evans, so they're the first two players through. 5-2 to Tepchara, 5-1 for Tom Ford.
It was a nice safety shot from Trump, swinging the cue ball round with left-hand side, taking the wide route round the angles. And there's always a red, isn't there, that you know that you should be able to avoid. It's almost like it's bigger than the width of it on the way back, and he crashed into it full ball. The last thing right now he needed, that was. Well, without the black to help him, at the moment the pink buried at the top of the bunch. So now the balls at this stage are not easy. But of course, if you could get an angle on the blue and crash into the bunch, you could free up not only the reds but the high value colours as well. That's what you forget in these kind of situations. And there's no reason why he shouldn't, if he's got the angle, go into them, but I find that angle a bit straight, I think, for what he was looking for. Wanted the cue ball a bit further down the table. So now I'm not sure he can play into them unless he just plays on the bottom red. But still going into them from the blue will be the plan, but just not that time. Well, he can't avoid. I'm sure he can't avoid doing it this time. There is a red actually that goes to the left corner, but where's the future in it if the colour is not there? The only thing I would say, he could roll it in and finish low on the red and top through the bunch, or go into the bunch right now. I think there is two options. So choosing to do the same thing but with a different red. It's an odd shot, that. A little surprised he played it, because he's got to get the rest out, he's got to force it, and he's kind of hitting the underside of the bunch, so he's going to do well to pot this, open the reds and be on a colour. Be a good shot. Well, it's not bad. Once again, a little straight on the blue. He's played it well. That's probably the best shot of the break.
24. $25.
Yes, I think there wasn't a very big target to hit there. He needed to hit the pink full ball.
30.
I don't know where his next red's coming from. There might be one to the right middle, but it's a fiendishly bad angle. You know, going into the reds rather than away from the reds. You know, he might struggle to keep the break going here. I think he's going to have to play a safety shot, reluctantly. You can see how little he wants this break to end. He's facing the facts that he's got to play safe.
Judd Trump.
And it's not a sign of weakness playing safe when you don't want to. What's worse is if you've taken a really ambitious shot on and miss it and leave your opponent in. You know, it's the pragmatic approach there he took. I'm assuming nothing on the left side goes into our left middle or top left pocket here. He's got to be very, very careful if he does take a pot onto the left corner. You know, you're talking about what could be his last shot if it goes wrong. Yeah, Good decision, I think, there. Didn't like the pot. He knows he's treading on thin ice as far as this match is concerned. But either way, whether Lisowski's shot was a good one, it turned out not to be quite good enough. That was a brilliant shot to nothing ball. If you can cover all the reds from this roll up, then could win in the match. But there's a lot of reds to cover, and that is very well judged. So, yes, the pot has created the chance, but that was a good snooker.
Yeah, properly turning the screw. All the pressure now on this man, a shake of the head, you can understand it.
Could be one of those, what you used to call the Steve Maguire shot. He's on the other table, actually, but where you just basically hit and hope. But if you can't see a red that you can lay up to, you might fluke one. I don't think he's going that route. Looks like he might be going twice across.
Foul and a miss. Judd Trump 4. Back.
But of course, that's why players do play that shot that Maguire seems to have done over the years, because you can just try and get out of the snooker and you can still leave one. You know, you can still leave one even if you do your best not to. So if all the balls are flying around the table, something goes in, then you're basically in with a sort of second lease of life. This is a hard shot that he's playing here. Just to drop into one of the two reds. Missed it again. And this will definitely go back this time, no doubt about it.
Judd Trump 4.
You know, if he's not careful, he could give away quite a few points trying this one shot. He's a single red he's trying to hit.
Well, that's 3 attempts already, 12 points.
Judd Trump 4.
Problem is, the reds he's trying to hit are not close to a cushion, so you're not exactly just snugly laying up to one, are you? That's the issue. Now, is there a plan B? Is there anything else he can do here? At the moment, it's just looking like the match is slipping away. It's not his fault. It's a difficult snooker.
Yeah, it was very nicely played from Trump, wasn't it? You know, it's so easy to misjudge that roll up from where he was.
Well, he's got the shot and well played. I say difficult snooker, of course, it's not difficult to hit a red, but it's not really the point, is it? You just can't hit any red. And that was actually a good shot in the end. It was worth those few points he gave away.
Well, Lisowski got over that hurdle eventually, but the pressure's still on here. At any moment, he knows 43 behind. He could be out of the tournament.
In fairness to Lisowski, he's battling hard here. You know, he is. He's doing his best. You know, he got out of that snooker. He didn't take his frustration out just by hitting the balls. You know, he found a way out of that mess, and he played a good safety shot there, so he's still trying. Just needs another chance. Well, it may be that he has to go for a long one here. I don't see how he can shirk the issue this time. Something to the left corner. There's a number of options, none of which are easy. So he's now taking this one on. It wasn't close, was he? He was thinking about getting that cue ball away from all the action. That might be his last shot.
He certainly fears so. Let's see.
One.
Yeah, I mean, Jack does get his critics, doesn't he? And I think he's tried his best today. He's battled hard. He missed a couple of important balls, but, you know, even in this frame, I think he has tried to apply himself. I suppose you could argue that last red he missed, if he'd have played it full-bloodedly, rather than looking to escape, he may have got the pot. But, you know, you're playing Judd Trump here, the world #1, so it's never going to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, when Trump, in his early years, was sort of known as a sort of flair player, naughty snooker, all of that, you could understand why he was pigeonholed as that. But what he's become is just a really, really hard player to beat. We saw his response to losing the respot in frame 6. He came out, he made a terrific century, really focused hard on that break. And now it's in his hands to get this one. Not that much more to do to put himself into the last 16.
Well, that's somewhere in between the shots he might have been looking to play. There are 75 points left on the table, so, you know, a red with just about any colour will do. And that includes the green.
22.
Still in between shots again, though, there, so he's, you know, he's on the brink of winning the match, but he's still got to pull out one more pot. And if he takes the brown on, he is coming down towards the reds. Adds a tiny bit of pressure to the shot, albeit the reds are spread everywhere. Well, this red goes in, this lights out.
26.
Yeah, this is Trump's other great skill as a recovery potter. I mean, the red and the brown were missable, but he's potted them, he's potted that red, and he's our winner. And in the end, he's dominated these two frames since Lisowski won that respot for 3-3. Judd Trump has stepped up his game. The first winner here, of course, 2 years ago. Stephen Hendry paid him a great compliment, and he would know better than anyone. He said when he started winning, he got greedy to win more. So that's why he's so well prepared for these tournaments. He wants to win as many trophies as he can. He doesn't settle for what he's already achieved, which is considerable.
40.
Well, that red yielded at the last moment. So it's going to be 8 wins in a row against his good friend. Stretching back now 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's the shot he missed. It looked bad, but he was trying to escape up the table, and that was his just about his last shot, wasn't it?
Judd Trump then completes victory over Jack Lisowski by 5 frames to 3. It was an entertaining match. Lisowski started with that total clearance in the first frame, won the respot for 3-3. After that, though, Judd Trump dominated, and the winner here 2 years ago advances to the last 16. But that is not it, because